to register whether you're going to forgive Captain Haddock, who sends in today's tale. Father Simon, I was listening to your confessions tonight about the young man called Fly and his mate Spider about the spurious autograph. And it brought back a memory of a similar, but not really, incident that happened to me. Well, is it similar or not, Captain Haddock? Let's find out. In December 1971, I was a newly qualified, straight-out-of-the-box physical training instructor in Her Britannic Majesty's Royal Navy. My first posting was to the Clyde submarine base in Faslane, which I joined in January 1972 after Christmas leave. There was a tradition in the Navy that all the hair you could secrete under your cap, you could keep, up to a point. I had successfully grown a nice afro, and it all sat under my cap without causing any problems. This is an interesting detail which will become essential to you understanding the confession later on. Way back then, says Captain Haddock, pubs were not allowed to open on Sunday. Only hotels were allowed to sell alcohol. I'm not sure why, but naval establishments that had bars were also allowed to sell alcohol. Being up in Faslane on a Sunday meant that some of the locals were also allowed onto the base to attend discos and so on. To the age-appropriate young people of the vicinity, it was somewhat of a magnet, and a good time was had by both military and civilian alike. You can imagine. Where can we go for a drink? I know. Let's go to the naval base. On one such Sunday lunchtime, the organising committee must have had a sudden rush of blood to the head because they had booked the fabulous Equals. Still to this day, I have no idea how they pulled that one off, but it was usually a local band or a sailor's band or something. But imagine, we had the Equals. Baby Come Back, Viva Bobby Joe, a couple of their hits. Eddie Grant was the lead singer. It's them. They came on stage and completed a magnificent set, all of their hits up to that moment in time, and then they did a couple of encores and they finally left the stage to rapturous applause. I was sitting near the front of the stage in my civvies, talking to some people, when a sailor walks over. I knew he was a sailor because of his haircut, and I'd seen him around the base a few times. He asked me for my autograph. And being in the Navy, I was used to getting sent up. It was virtually a law in the Navy. We took the mickey at every opportunity. So I asked him why. Why, says he, because you're Eddie Grant. He continued with a genuinely puzzled look on his face. I'm not Eddie Grant, I replied, says Captain Haddock. I'm one of the PTIs here on the base, which, if you remember earlier, physical training instructor. For goodness sake, Eddie, says this sailor, only want your autograph, not your firstborn child, he said, and he's starting to get a bit leery. Seriously, mate, says I, and here I used the naval vernacular for PTI. I am a club swinger here on the base, because that's how we're referred to. Just to try to persuade him that he was wrong, but he wasn't deterred in the least. The other people at the table were most amused and wondered what I was going to do with the drunken sailor.
Oh, very good.
I had to get that line in, says Captain Haddock. He was insistent that I was Eddie Grant and that I was being a bit of a diva for not giving him my autograph. Well, finally, Father Simon, I cracked. I thought the best way to handle the situation was to admit that I was indeed Eddie Grant and sign his autograph book for him. After all, I didn't want to be insulting dear old Eddie in the future, telling all his mates that Eddie Grant of the Equals was up himself and wouldn't give autographs to a hard-working member of Her Majesty's Armed Forces. Perish the thought. I asked him his name, signed with a flourish I imagined a pop star would employ. Lots of love, best wishes, and so on. Eddie Grant, kiss, kiss, kiss. I asked him his name, signed, and off we went. He went away happy, showing his mates his latest acquisition. Look, Eddie Grant, he's look at that. I asked forgiveness clearly, though, from the young man, I was probably actually younger than him, for looking too much like one of his heroes. I didn't have many options that day I didn't really have many options that day other than to sign. I asked forgiveness from Eddie Grant for impersonating him, even unintentionally, for he was much better looking than I, but I couldn't let him get a bad rep, really, on my behalf. By the way, on leaving the disco, one of the regulating staff, the naval policeman, recognised me from the gym and had me report to the regulating office the next morning. Alas, I was marched to the barbers and watched in horror as my newly cultivated afro was transformed in seconds into regulation short back and sides. And a short top, too. I'm sad to say that I never have been mistaken for anyone famous ever again. 15 minutes and out. That is what I'm reporting to you. But can I get forgiveness? That's what I'm asking. Captain Haddock signed in the name of Eddie Grant, pop superstar, Sister Katie Susie.
Well, Captain Haddock, I'm going to forgive you here because you did try to tell him on numerous occasions that you weren't Eddie Grant, whereas I think my issue with Tom Jones was that you had many opportunities to be
He said,
truthful.
I'm the club swinger.
Yeah, he used the proper lingo, he tried to get out of it, and, he just wanted to protect Eddie's reputation. I think that's very thoughtful of him. So yeah, you're forgiven, Captain Haddock.
Brother from another gutter.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really have any choice here, did he? Faced with someone who was clearly so demanding. And in a way, didn't he just give him hope, Joanna? Yes, he did!
Really?
Eddie Grant, that's
yes.
right.
Okay.
Inspired, I thought.
Yes.
So I am going to forgive.